For the next example, I'm going to show you when information about theta is given, and this time information about theta over 2 is wanted. So we are basically looking at half angle formulas. So let me quickly remind you of the half angle formulas. Sine of theta over 2 could be positive, could be negative, depending on the quadrant where theta over 2 is located at. Square root of 1 minus cosine of theta over 2. Cosine of theta over 2 is very similar. It's positive, negative, square root. There's 2 in the denominator, but then in the numerator we have 1 plus cosine of theta. And then tangent of theta over 2, which is either positive, negative, square root of 1 minus cosine theta over 1 plus cosine theta, which is the direct result of the identity tangent is sine over cosine for any angle. So if I divide these two first formulas, sine of theta over 2 by cosine of theta over 2, that's the formula that I'm going to get. There are 2 other formulas. You can get them from the textbook, but I just stay with this one for tangent. Now, be very careful. Maybe you're not always given theta questioned theta over 2. Maybe you're given 2 theta and the question is about theta. So it's not the matter of am I doing theta over 2, or it's 2 theta to theta, or it's let's say 4 alpha to 2 alpha. The key is what's given to us is some information, and what we want is always half of that. So you see, from theta to theta over 2, that's half. From 2 theta to theta, that's half. From 4 alpha to 2 alpha, that's half. So that tells us that we have to use half angle formulas. Very important to determine the quadrant or domain or whatever you want to call it, because we need to know the sign. We need to know, and that is the one for the half angle. So not only you have to determine it for the angle itself for theta, but you also have to determine it for theta over 2, because you want to know, am I taking the positive or negative of each of these square roots? So it's important to know that. Let me show you an example so that you understand how important it is to use these positive, negative, and quadrants based on the quadrant. So let's say cosine of theta is given to us, and it's 1/4. We are also told that theta is between 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi. And then the question is find cosine of theta over 2. Okay, first thing, quadrant. So here for theta, where's theta located at? If it's greater than 3 pi over 2 and less than 2 pi, then that is the 4th quadrant. Now, if I take that, in order to determine where theta over 2 is located at, I just divide everything by 2. So then 3 pi over 2 divided by 2 gives us 3 pi over 4. 2 pi divided by 2 gives us pi. Well, where is that? Which area does it cover, or in which quadrant it is? Theta over 2 is less than pi, greater than 3 pi over 4. 3 pi over 4 is approximately half here. So this angle theta over 2 is going to fall in the second half of quadrant 2, but that second half doesn't really matter. All we need to know is that it is in quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, x is negative, y is positive. Or we can say cosine is negative, sine is positive. Okay, now that the question is about cosine of theta over 2, and I know that formula is positive, negative, square root of 1 plus cosine of theta over 2. Well, cosine of theta is given to us, it's 1/4. The decision is about, is it positive or negative that I should take? Be very, very careful. This positive negative relates to theta over 2, doesn't relate to theta. So although cosine of theta is positive, cosine of theta over 2 is negative because of the quadrant that it belongs to. So then I'm going with the negative square root. And then it's 1 plus, substituting the value that is given to us. The rest of it is just calculation. So we have negative outside parentheses, 2 in the denominator, 1, which is 4 over 4, plus 1 over 4, that's 5 over 4. So then we have negative square root of 5 over 8, because these two multiply. And I can write this as negative square root of 5 over square root of 8, which is 2 square root of 2, because 8 is 4 times 2. 4 is a complete square, comes out as 2, and then square root of 2. And then if we want to rationalize it, we say negative square root of 5 over 2 square root of 2, and I multiply and divide by square root of 2 to get rid of square root in the denominator. That gives us negative square root of 10 over 2 times another 2 when you multiply 2 square roots. So it's negative square root of 10 over 4, and that's the value.